Thank you for watching this Dear Systems tutorial. In this video, we'll cover the use of advanced purchase orders. In addition to simple purchases, Dear Inventory offers a type of purchase with advanced features. Advanced purchases are designed to handle purchase orders where multiple invoices and stock deliveries are to be considered part of the same purchase. Advanced purchases also allow multiple credit notes to be issued for a single purchase order. Any purchase order that is to be completed in multiple deliveries should be made as an advanced purchase. Before proceeding, I'm assuming you're already familiar with the simple purchase order process. It's important to note that a simple purchase can be converted into an advanced purchase if the conditions of the purchase order change. In this case, you can easily convert a purchase order by going into any authorized simple purchase order and selecting the option to convert in the top right of the page. Note that the change from standard purchase to advanced purchase is irreversible. Conversion of an existing purchase can be done at any point in the order. If you try to receive a partial delivery using a simple purchase, you'll receive an error message and will have to convert the purchase to an advanced purchase to continue. To create a new advanced purchase, navigate to the Purchase module and select New Advanced Purchase. In an advanced purchase, the supplier details and purchase order lines are displayed and filled in the same way as with a standard simple purchase. However, the stock receipt, invoice, and credit note functions are displayed in the sidebar to the left. This enables the menu to grow in size when multiple invoices and receipts are recorded against it. Transactions, history, attachments, and manual journals can be viewed and edited in the same way as the simple purchase, but are now simply located on the sidebar to the left. First, you need to fill in the document header in the same manner as the simple purchase by selecting a supplier in the top left-hand corner to pre-fill in their details. If you're converting a simple purchase to an advanced purchase, the document header information will be brought across from the original order. Adding items to the advanced purchase order is done in the same way as for a simple purchase. Products can be added individually, imported from a CSV file, added to the order using a barcode scanner, or multiple product variants can be added by clicking the plus family. You can also verify your order against current stock quantities. Additional costs are added in the lower section of the purchase order. Once you're ready to continue, authorize the order. Once the purchase order has been authorized, you can optionally add a supplier deposit to use as a prepayment against the invoice. Click plus supplier deposit and fill in the details in the pop-up window to add the prepayment. Similar to a simple purchase, if you're using Xero's your accounting system, ensure Xero payment settings are set to be sync both ways or push to Xero. QuickBooks Online payments are set by default to sync both ways. Some users prefer to entirely manage their payments through their accounting platform. If this is the case, you can leave this section blank, and the prepayment details will be imported from the accounting system and applied to the order once prepayment is made. With an advanced purchase, you can have one invoice to cover the entire purchase order, or multiple to cover one or multiple separate deliveries. This video will focus on invoice first orders. However, the process is almost identical for stock first purchases. To process invoices for an advanced purchase, go to the Invoicing and Receiving section of the sidebar. Click on the plus Invoicing Receiving to generate an invoice. The total for the invoice is shown at the top of the frame. Enter the invoice number and invoice date. Enter the invoice lines. You can click Copy Remaining from Order to add all items yet to be invoiced from the purchase order, and authorize the invoice. The Invoicing and Receiving frame will now show the following: the amount invoiced next to the invoice number, the remaining total to be invoiced at the top, and the number of stocked items to receive for the invoice next to the Add Stock Receiving button. Once an invoice has been authorized, you can apply payments to the invoice. Also note that if you have an unused supplier deposit associated with the purchase, you'll be asked if you want to allocate it upon invoice authorization. Next to each invoice number, the total invoice is shown on the left with the remaining balance to be paid. Payments are shown below the invoice section. Add more payments by clicking on an invoice number and clicking plus payment to add more payments, or use plus used supplier deposit to add any unused supplier deposit associated with the supplier to this invoice. You can now proceed to the stock receipt or continue invoicing the rest of the order. To continue invoicing, simply repeat the process until all items have been invoiced. In order to receive stock, click Add Stock Receiving in the sidebar and add the stock received lines. Next, authorize the stock receipt to continue. If there is still stock to receive, repeat the process again until all items have been received. Now let's look at the credit notes functionality. One or more credit notes can be attached to the purchase. To assign one or more credit notes, go to the Credit Notes section in the sidebar and select Add Credit Note. Enter the credit note date, and in the Credit Note For field, choose the invoice which the credit note relates to. This automatically copies the items from that invoice into the credit note. And select Authorize to continue. Note that the unstocked items can be automatically populated with the contents of the credit note. Changing the quantity will reflect the actual number of items unstocked if necessary. Next, authorize the credit note. For more credit notes associated with the same sale, click Add Credit Note in the sidebar. Now let's take a look at how refunds work. Refunds are applied to credit notes in the same way that payments are applied to invoices. Noting credit notes must be authorized before a refund can be issued. Credit notes can be issued as a refund or as a supplier deposit to be used against future purchase orders with the selected supplier. To issue a credit note refund as a supplier deposit, you should return some or all of the value of the credit note to the supplier deposit by clicking Add Supplier Deposit. A pop-up window will open to complete the required fields. The supplier deposit value will be added to the refund section. To issue a credit note refund as a payment, return some or all of the value of the credit note to your payment accounts by selecting Add Refund, and then enter the account details and date paid. The functionalities of attachments, history, transactions, and additional attributes is identical to that of a simple purchase process. And that concludes this video on advanced purchase orders.